What's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to be breaking down a really high performing ad. It has a ton of views. And what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to take the ad and split it into two components. Number one, the copywriting element, and number two, how it was filmed. In element number one, the copywriting, I'm going to be taking the entire video transcript, putting it into a Google Sheet and breaking it down line by line for you to show you the copywriting elements and the ideas behind why this ad works. And also you can use that as a template at the end of this video. If you go in the description, you will find that template that we basically build throughout this video. Then I'm going to go through the high performing video and show exactly how it was filmed so that you can easily film it yourself. So the video we're going to be breaking down today is a PPP loan ad. I've been seeing a ton of these recently, and I was kind of waiting to determine which one I was going to break down. And then this one hit my phone a few days ago. It was just delivered to me. I wasn't even using any spy tools. And I was like, this is the one. This is for sure the one. The copywriting is very succinct in this. I think it's a perfect ad in pretty much all elements. If I were to write an ad, this is pretty much how I would hope it would come out for this niche. So let's jump into it. So the name of the ad is, if you have Power Ad Spy, you can search on Power Ad Spy. It's not even listed on VidTal yet. It's called Blue PPP. Now there's two ads here. Let's go over the stats real quick. We'll go over stats first. So the stats on the ad, it was first seen April 7th, and now I'm filming this on April 9th. So that means essentially 2 days have passed, and it has 1.5 million views in 2 days. Now, I'm pretty sure it was posted, it was running before this. I think it was running a little before. Like, it started like maybe like a week and a half ago. Because that's when I saw it. So I think it's been running a little bit longer, but regardless, the amount of views this has gone in such a short period of time, we have 1.5 million on this ad and 600,000 on this ad. It's pretty much, they'd have to be insane to spend that money if it's not performing. I can pretty much guarantee this one's performing. It's only being run in the US, obviously. Something happened here with Egypt and Pakistan. I think they probably like set retargeting to where it doesn't have geo boundaries, and that's why you have some delivery over there. I don't think they're running in those countries whatsoever. So the two ads, I'll let you see if you can spot a difference between these two. Here, let me get to the same spot. So what is the difference between these two ads? It's the captions at the bottom. Kind of hard to see with the UI I have pulled up here. But the captions at the bottom. This one is the same ad without captions. This one is the same ad with captions. Now, adding captions to this ad is a really interesting choice because they do a ton of text overlay. I mean, their text overlay is so thorough. It's essentially captions. I mean, I don't really know why you need captions. The only part I can see the logic of adding captions to this is during these kind of cutaway scenes to where you don't have the text overlay. But yeah, their captions one has more views, which in my mind tells me it's probably outperforming or they just launched it a little bit earlier. It's really hard to tell. That being said, I think it's a good idea to add captions if you're going to launch in this niche, especially because obviously for them it's working really well. So we're going to be reviewing the one with captions just for the sake of it. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breaking it down in this Google Sheet. Like I said earlier, you can get the sheet in the description beneath the video. We're basically going to turn this into a template. We're going to write out here on the right exactly what's going on here on the left. And we're going to turn this into a workable template for you. So to talk about the lander they're using, it's essentially a quiz lander. They have the quiz over here, and they have a ton of testimonials, information about it below, which is, I think it looks really good. Personally, I usually run stuff like this to a more basic quiz. I would just run it to essentially this, spread out over the whole page. But this is obviously working for them. So I would split test that. If I were running this at really high scale, my split test would be a basic quiz page versus the page with a bunch of bunch of social proof essentially. So let's jump into the ad and we will break it down.
Employed and 1099 contract. Most self-employed and 1099 contractors have no idea they can actually qualify for a 100% forgivable PPP loan.
Okay, so most self-employed and 1099 contractors have no idea they can actually qualify for a 100% forgivable PPP loan. They can get 2.5 months earnings from the SBA and have it completely forgiven. I'll let it play to that part.
They can get 2.5 months of earnings from the SBA and have it completely forgiven. That is
okay, so this is essentially the hook. This is a benefit-driven hook. It calls out the audience. And on top of that, it is essentially a new opportunity. This whole ad copy is new opportunity driven. One of the most common things you'll see in lead gen industries on YouTube and on Facebook is they're new opportunity driven. Whether it's a real opportunity or basically a contrived new opportunity just with a fancy label slapped on it. So the new opportunity is mentioned very early in this ad, which is a bit uncommon. Usually, especially in most of my ads, I just lead with benefits and then introduce the new opportunity before the call to action. But I like the idea of calling out the new opportunity at the beginning. I think it works here. That is if they apply before the funds run out. So this is essentially throwing in some scarcity, time-based scarcity. I'll be as specific as possible on these so that when you guys are going through and using this as a template, hopefully it can help you write it a little bit better. So right here, we'll let it play a little bit.
Is if they apply before the funds run out. We've created a 60-second quiz that can tell you if you qualify and how much you can get. The forgivable loans have...
So this right here is basically a soft CTA. It's not a direct call to action. It's just saying we've created a 60-second quiz that can show you if you qualify and how much you can get. Now, it's a little bit more of a direct CTA because on the screen they show the quiz, which I think that would drive clicks. Having a CTA this early in the ad is very good, especially for lead gen type offers. Having an early CTA and a later call to action is very useful because it'll increase your click-through rate and it will decrease your watch rate, which will get you cheaper clicks and cheaper conversions. The forgivable loans have no fees or cost, so I'll let this play.
No fees or cost to apply, no credit checks or criminal background checks, and no personal guarantee or collateral required. As long as you are getting paid for this work before February 15th, 2020, you can qualify.
Okay. The forgivable loans have no fees or cost to apply, no credit checks or criminal background checks, and no personal guarantee or collateral required. As long as you are, okay, so this right here is objection handling. These are probably common objections or FAQs that get asked to them or are very common when dealing with PP loans. So this is objection handling, basically telling them like none of this stuff is going to happen. You don't have to worry about any of this. You can get the loan regardless of, if any of this information matches you. As long as you were getting paid before February 15th, so it then goes on to qualify them. So it says you don't have to meet these characteristics. As long as you meet this characteristic, you qualify. You don't need to have, we'll let it play.
You don't need to have an employees or a registered company. As a 1099 contractor or self-employed person, you are considered a business. It can even be your side hustle. The PPP stands for the paycheck.
Okay, so you don't need to have any employees or a registered company as a contractor or self-employed person. You are considered a business even as your side hustle. So this is essentially more objection handling. This is probably the biggest objection in my mind that is probably, I mean, I haven't done any deep diving research on who the prospects of this are and what they're thinking. But I imagine as they watch through this ad, most people are questioning, like, do I qualify for this loan because I have a really small business? I'm self-employed. I don't have any employees. Like, that's probably one of the biggest questions, and they address it early on, which is a very good move. Let it play.
Protection program. It's been a part of every big stimulus since 2020. It's supposed to give money to the businesses who need it the most to keep people working. That includes the self-employed. In round one, most self-employed people didn't even realize they qualified. But even if they did, they and most other small businesses couldn't get access to the money. Big banks only focused on big companies to get bigger commissions, and they got caught red-handed. But now we're in round two and the rules are different. There's more money specifically for small forgivable loans, and the process is much easier. We're Blue Acorn.
Okay, so that whole section right there, this whole section, all this is giving background information as to why this new opportunity exists. So this whole ad is framing this as even if it's not a new opportunity, it's an opportunity that the prospects either didn't know they qualified for or they weren't aware of. What this whole section does is it explains to them why the new opportunity exists. Because when people hear about new opportunities, their bullshit meters go off. They're like, hey, like this does not sound like something that's feasible. This does not sound realistic. This doesn't, I bet this is fake. So when you give a background story as to how these results came about, you see this a lot in the make money online niche too. After they make the big claims, the big money claims, they then go into some background story as to how they got the money, how the business came about, and how they got to where they are now. Providing backstory is the foundation for new opportunity. If you are going to mention new opportunities, you must provide backstory to how those new opportunities came about and why they're valid now and why they may have not been valid in the past.
We've partnered with nonprofit community banks to offer forgivable PPP loans to the overlooked. After you take the quiz, you can apply on your phone or laptop in about 5 to 10 minutes, get approved in one day, and get your funds in 5 to 7.
Okay. So we're Blue Acorn. We've partnered with a nonprofit community banks to offer forgivable loans to the overlooked. This is basically just introducing them and providing more background to the new opportunity. So this part right here, we've partnered with nonprofit community banks to offer forgivable loans to the overlooked. This is providing a mechanism by which they deliver the new opportunity, very similar to this whole section right here. Forgot to write that in for you guys. So after you take the quiz, you can apply on your phone, laptop, in about 5 to 10 minutes, get approved in one day, and get your funds in 5 to 7 days. So this is doing a couple things here. This is describing exactly what happens when they take action. You don't want it to be ambiguous what happens after they take the desired action. If you tell somebody to take a quiz or fill out a form, you want to tell them exactly what they're going to get after. That way, there's not as much concern on their behalf as they're filling it out. Especially when they ask for that name, phone number, and email. If they have no idea what they're getting after or what they're in this for, then it's kind of shaky territory. So you want to provide to them information as to exactly what happens after they fill out the quiz. Get approved. So this is also like an added benefit, telling them that they're going to get approved instantly. So you can even take pictures, documents straight from your phone. This is just another benefit. Shows how actually it's really more objection handling. So any objections that were created by this last step, like, oh, I'm going to have to apply. How do I submit the documents? Do I need to scan a bunch of stuff? Telling them they can submit it from their phone is a very good move. You'll notice every single time they make a claim throughout this ad, they very quickly handle the objections. So as soon as any potential objections come up, they follow it with, even if it's just a sentence handling the objections brought up by the previous claim, which is a very good strategy to use. As soon as funds run out or deadline hits, it's too late. So this hits them with scarcity, reinforcing time scarcity. Remember at the beginning, they brought up the time-based scarcity at the very beginning, and then they reinforced it at the end. So take the 60-second quiz to see if you're eligible and how much you can get for a forgivable, deep, probably meant to say PPP loan before the funds run out. So this is just the final. We'll put this a different color. This is just the final CTA. Now, that is the basic structure. This structure right here, this template is very good for any lead gen stuff you want to do. If you're trying to do any B2C lead gen offers, writing it out in this way, you can do this in any niche and it'll work. This is a very good template. The reason I say that is not because I've specifically used this one, but a lot of the stuff I've written for lead gen, now that I look at this, it follows a very similar format. My stuff, and when you see patterns arise from different, completely separate entities, like my own copywriting, and then the stuff that works for me, and then I come over here and I break this ad down, and it follows a very similar structure. It tells you something when you see it coming from multiple different places. So what we're going to do next is we're going to break this ad down by the video elements in it, like how it's actually filmed. So let's jump into that.
Most self-employed and 1099 contractors have no idea they can actually qualify for a 100% forgivable PPP loan.
Okay, so the first thing I want to mention is this actor, in order to film this, they basically just put a guy against a wall and probably use some box lights. Like, that's how easy it is to film this ad. Shoulders up, button-up shirt, have a box light, and just slap him dead center on a wall. I don't even know if that's like a photography background or if that's just a plain wall. But either way, that's literally all they did for the foundation of this ad. Now, there's two things you'll notice while they have this guy on screen talking. They have captions at the bottom, and like we discussed in the beginning, their higher performing ad uses captions. So if you're going to be going to this niche, I would definitely use captions. Second of all, they have text overlay to wherever his face is positioned, they have text overlay at the opposite part of the screen. Wherever there's dead space, they use text overlay. And their text overlay is a little bit different than a lot of stuff you see. Usually text overlay is to emphasize main points. They essentially use it like they're using captions. They have both the captions going and the text overlay.
They can get 2.5 months of earnings from the SBA.
Now, one of the things you'll notice is in order to keep this interesting, because it's really just a guy standing against a wall talking to a camera, they have probably used a wide shot of him to where they leave dead space on either side of his face. And they just switch him from, in post when they're editing, they're just switching him from one side to the other. So in the beginning, you'll see he's kind of positioned over here, and then they put the text over here. And then in order to keep the shots interesting, they move him over here to the left, and then they have the text overlay.
They can get 2.5 months
there on the right
from the SBA and have it completely forgiven. That is, if they apply before the funds run out. We've created 60.
Now this right here, showing the quiz, whenever you mention the call to action, which is, hey, take this quiz, showing the quiz is one of my favorite strategies. I personally do a screen share and just use like Loom footage, or you can use Camtasia to film a screen share. Here, they're actually using a phone, and then they did like a screen share and overlaid it. I really like that strategy. You probably have to use like Adobe Premiere or hire some editor off of Upwork if you don't have video editing experience. But I really like how it looks. I don't know if it's necessary. You could probably just use a screen share overlay here as well. But if you know how to do this, this is a really cool visual element.
Second quiz that can tell you if you qualify and how much you can get. The forgivable loans have no fees or cost to apply, no credit checks or criminal background checks, and no personal guarantee or collateral required. As long as you are getting paid.
They switch him. Also, for reference, for those of you who are filming your own ads, the benefit of switching him right there is he only has to memorize from here, like right here, until they switch him. So he only had to memorize the lines up until that point, which is like a couple sentences. And then because I switch camera angles, he can look at the script, breathe a few times, and then read the next few lines. So it's read a few lines, switch camera angles, read a few more lines. And it looks like it's taken in one unbroken take, but I doubt it. Most of the time, these are taken in multiple takes, and the takes are split up when the camera angle switches. Or in this case, they just edit him from one side of the screen to the other.
Before February 15th, 2020, you can qualify. You don't need to have an employees or a registered company. As a 1099 contractor or self-employed person, you are considered a business. It can even be your side hustle. The PPP stands for the Paycheck Protection Program. It's been a part of
really good text there, really here. I love how they did that.
It's supposed to give money.
So they also switched to stock footage to keep things interesting. This is a common thing you'll see in a lot of places, but switching to stock footage to keep it interesting as opposed to just showing the individual talking for the entire time.
The businesses who need it the most to keep people working. That includes the self-employed. In round one, most self-employed people didn't even realize they qualified. But even if they did, they and most other small businesses couldn't get access to the money. Big banks only focused on big companies to get bigger commissions.
This is really interesting strategy using news headlines in the video for additional social proof.
And they got caught red-handed. But now we're in round two and the rules are different. There's more money specifically for small forgivable loans, and the process is much easier. We're Blue Acorn. We've partnered with nonprofit community banks to offer forgivable PPP.
So this right here is an interesting bit they added. When you introduce yourself, if you have any qualifications, BBB accredited businesses, all that type of stuff, they put it on the screen in order to just have additional social proof.
Opportunity overlooked. After you take the quiz, you can apply on your phone or laptop in about 5 to 10 minutes, get approved in 1 day, and get your funds in 5 to 7 days. You can even take pictures of your documents and upload them straight.
So showing this is basically the same idea as like showing the quiz. I really like having that as a visual element there.
As soon as funds run out or the deadline hits, it's too late. So take the 60-second quiz to see if you're eligible and how much you can get for a forgivable PPP loan before the funds run out.
They probably could have left the end screen a little bit longer there. I like to leave end screens as 10 to 15 seconds. They only did like, I don't know how long that was, like 6 seconds. But this ad is like very good lead gen type ad. You can use this and film this ad in essentially a day. You could film this basically on a wall, just get some box lights. You could film this with your phone on a wall with some box lights. Make sure you have good audio. But filming this ad would be very quick, and you would just need to do all the editing in post and hire that out on Upwork preferably, unless if you really know like Premiere or any of these higher tier editing softwares. But yeah, guys, this ad is, I imagine we'll see continued performance from it because 1.5 million views in just a couple days, even if it has been live more for like 10 days as opposed to just like 3 or 4 days, is absolutely crushing it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that breakdown. This Google Sheet with all of the template in it will be in the description beneath this video. If you want access to the private Facebook group where you can ask me any questions regarding YouTube ads, that link will also be below. If you're interested in coaching on how to run YouTube ads for yourself and scale your business, or if you're a media buyer and you want to help other people scale their businesses with YouTube ads, there is a link to a book a call below. It will be with me personally, not a salesperson or anything like that. I can answer any questions you have about the coaching program. But that's it for today, guys. If you want to see any more videos on my channel, they're to the right. If you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe below. I release multiple videos a week on the most up-to-date YouTube strategies. That's it, guys. I'll see you later.